Hi, and welcome to Tutu's Journey. Well, as I promised, I will be doing a video on when I was in surgery for a tumor. All right, this is pretty casual. This is late night chit chat. So I'm gonna be pretty relaxed here. But thank you so much for joining me. Subscribe, like, and share. And let's get to business. Okay, this is what happened. I had a tumor on my right side, the size of a grapefruit. And it started out like really small. I actually remember the day when it happened. I was at work and I went to wash my hands and I looked in the mirror and looked like a little lump was like on my side. And I was like, what is that? So I pushed it down and it like felt like fatty tissue or something. So I was getting nervous because let me tell you, I don't play with lumps. I don't play with lumps. So I get any kind of lump. You do too. You too. Make sure any kind of lump going on when you get them things looked at. So I had an RN that was actually there at my job, and she said, that looks like a lipoma. And she was on it, but I didn't never, I just made an appointment. I never even thought nothing of it. And I was like, you can't die from that, can you? And she was like, no, you just have surgery, So now I get my appointment. Of course, it's some months later. But in the meantime, this thing is growing and growing and growing. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So around the circumference of it, it used to ache really bad. So it didn't like really hurt, but around the circumference of it, it would ache because it was stretching and pulling. The intestines and my stomach matter was pushing out the inside of, or pushing out of the little hole. It started out a little teeny hole, and then it grew, and the matter of my stomach and lining started pushing through the hole, making the lump larger. So it just grew and grew. So I think, you guys, it took some time for me to finally get a good doctor to take a look at it. Mind you, though, my mind was on Dr. God because that was the creator. And my prayer was, Father, and this is no lie, I said, Father, will you be my doctor? Because let me tell you something about God. He could be your doctor. He can be your lawyer. And people got that song down pat. He could be your doctor. He could be your lawyer. He could be your father. He could be your mother. But you just better believe it's the truth. It is the God-honest truth. And I prayed for him to be my doctor. And I thanked him in advance. Thank you, Lord, for a great surgery. Thank you for everything just turning out perfect. Lord, I appreciate you helping me in the healing process. Believe that thing and pray without doubting, the Bible says, and it shall happen. Now, listen. So, I'm up for my surgery now. I found a doctor that would actually take me. And I'm up for surgery. He's prepping me for surgery and all. He's telling me the procedure. And it's going to take a little time because, he has to cut it. And then he has to cut it away from the lining of my stomach. He has to cut it away. So he said it's going to take a little while to do that based on the size that it is. Okay, so I go in for surgery, and the nurses are the sweetest things. They're so nice. And then, are you okay? And one lady was even holding my hand while they was wheeling me to the back in the surgery, in the operating room. And she was holding my hand, and I was like, but I'm okay. Now, mind you, me being me, I thought this would be the perfect chance to get to take a look at Jesus. I wanted to see Jesus. I just wanted the Lord to give me a glimpse of heaven, just a glimpse, because I done heard about how people done seen heaven and came back and tell it and all that. Well, I wanted to be one of those people to take a glimpse. I just wanted a glimpse, that's all. So I went in with the anticipation that I just might get this chance. So I go in, and the doctor comes out and introduces himself again and tells me, he knows exactly what he's going to do and how it should go perfectly. It shouldn't take, too long. It may be an hour or so based on how much cutting he has to do and how much bleeding that happens in that process. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, well, you don't look worried. And I said, no, I'm not. When I tell you all, I believed God on this. I believed God on this. So I go into surgery. Now, it felt like I did just like this. It felt like I just went. It just felt like I just closed my eyes and opened it and surgery was over. That's the way it felt, of course. But when I woke up, the doctor was like over me. He was looking over me. He was like, eyes real big. The nurses' mouths were open. And you guys, he told me one of the wildest stories. I wasn't surprised because I knew God would do it. But he told me one of the wildest stories. He said, now I'm going to pretend I'm him. That's my little t-shirt. He said, while you were asleep, I have to tell you, this is amazing. I've never seen this before. This has never happened before. But I have to tell you what happened. So I'm sitting up listening. He says, all right, getting ready to prep for surgery. Sutures. I get the sutures. And I mark where I'm going to cut. And he said, I make a line because I got a cut about this long. He said, I made a straight line down across the tumor, so he could take it out. And he said, the skin parted out, and he saw the tumor. So he said he went to get something. It could have been suture still to cut it, though, to cut it out. Remember he said he had to cut it out? Well, he said he turned away, and he turned back around to catch a glimpse of it rolling forward. And he said he was like, wait a minute. It can't be rolling forward because it's attached. And he said when he saw it roll, he took his two fingers and tapped it. And he said it rolled out. Do you hear me? This is supposed to be attached. And it rolls out like somebody pre-cut it. And he said he just could not believe it. He picked it up. He put it in the pan. And he said he went to get the scissors to cut, because when something is puffed out like that, then the elasticity of the skin is lessened. So, it'd be kind of flimsy. So he turned around to get the scissors to turn back around to trim that up. He said by the time he turned around, the skin had shrunk back. To God be the glory. The skin had shrunk back on its own. This is no lie. And he said all he had to do was stitch me up, and the surgery was over. And he said, I didn't have to put a knife or anything, nothing to cut away from that tumor. So what do you think happened? I believe I asked somebody to be my doctor. And you know what he said? He said it was as if someone had pre-did the surgery before he got to it. To God be the glory. We know who did that. And I just looked at him. I didn't say anything. I smiled and I looked at him like I'm cheesing now. And he said, somebody here knows God. And I just looked at him and shook my head like that. And that was just so amazing. And oh my gosh, to make it even more exciting, I went home and I thanked him. And the nurse was even like, he's not lying. I saw the whole thing. It was a 20-minute surgery. Piece of cake. So I get home, and in 3 days, they put a draining tube in me. That thing, oh gosh. It was a draining tube, and it had the little pouch on the side where the drainage went into. That smelled like woo-doo-doo. So the nurse came in, the RN, hold on. The RN came in, and she came to my house. And so she was checking it and making sure it was clean and, things. And she was like, wait a minute. The part where you actually got cut is almost healed up. And she was like, well, wait a minute. She said, well, do you want this this drain pipe thing out? Do you want it out? And I said, yeah, because it was really aggravating. And she took it out. Y'all, wait a minute. I thought she was going to take, because it was in a tube, and then you got your little pouch that was on the side. I thought she was just going to, pull a little tube out. This lady come pulling something this long out of my side. Look, if I stand it straight, about this long, it almost looked like a plug from, that you put the minis, when you got like 5 or 6 different sockets. There's the long little narrow thing with all the little sockets in, and you can put all the little sockets there. It was narrower than that, but it looked like that. It reminded me of a drainage tube, but it was long. I didn't expect her to pull all that out. But she took that out. That hole healed up like in 2 days. So everything, by the time I came to him, it was this little scar. You could faintly see. He just could not believe it from beginning to end. He just could not believe it. Hold on. He could not believe it from beginning to end. So that was one of the most amazing surgeries that I have ever had and have ever taken place in my life. So just to let you know that God is a healer. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Long as you're breathing, it is still possible. You know, he did it for me, and surely he could do it for you. And then my famous thing I love to say, if he did it before, he could do it again. So know that you are blessed. Know that he can do it for you as well. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.